When Shuey from Power on VR asked me about Zenith the Last City in our bi-weekly podcast, I famously said this.
I've no interest in that game. I've got no interest in MMOs. I've got no interest in MMO RPGs in VR. It's a personal thing.
I then took part in the open beta just prior to launch, so imagine my surprise when I had an absolute blast playing this MMO in VR. Now the full game has launched and I've had a week to dive deeper into Raymond VR's creation. Has my opinion changed? Let's get straight into it then, and remember, we're born to respawn. So we're going to talk about what Zenith is, and also as important, what Zenith is not. Then I'll give my conclusion, so stay till the end to hear that. Ready to get into it? First of all, why did I suddenly have such an abrupt about turn when it came to Zenith? I mean, my initial reaction during the podcast was quite severe, to say the least. For full disclosure, I was given access to the final beta by Elliot from the dev team, but due to my shifts at work, I only managed to play for a couple of hours. But what a magical time I had in those couple of hours, and that sparked my interest. That initial playthrough inhabiting the body of my DPS Essence Mage was, and I keep using this word, it was magical. Please pardon the pun. I have never played a game that changed my opinion so dramatically and so quickly. So, what is Zenith the Last City then? It is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, or MMORPG, but please don't let that put you off. I've never played an MMO. The closest I ever got was being addicted to Destiny, but that is more of an online shooter RPG. Pick a character and customize them from a very small list of attributes currently. More on this later. Pick a class, either an Essence Mage or a Blade Master. Again, more on that later. Then pick from 3 different subclasses, the DPS Master, Tank or Healer, all pretty self-explanatory. Then head out into the world of Zenith. The first hour is a kind of loose tutorial where you learn to move, climb, fly and fight in the company of a small droid companion. Then you are left to your own devices. Go questing, gather resources, level up your character and team up with your friends. The social aspect is handled really well. Quite often I will find myself standing outside a dungeon, anxiously peering into the gloom, when a group of fellow questers would turn up and I'd just follow them in. If you leave your audio option on global, you can hear and communicate with anyone, and this is the way that I prefer to play if I was by myself. So far I have found the community to be very friendly, sociable and willing to help out in a pinch, even down to explaining the minutiae of Zenith, which I will get back to again later. I'll keep saying that. Combat seems very simple at first, but later on it reveals itself as nuanced and skillful. I'll talk about Blade Master here, as this is the character I spent the most time with. You have 2 blades and they need to charge before striking. You cannot just fly into combat like a whirling dervish, blades flashing, as you will not do any damage. Instead, you need to strike in a rhythm to allow your blades to charge while using stamina to block any incoming attacks, whether that be bladed, arrowed or magical. Everything can be blocked if timed correctly. Your abilities are further enhanced by Godstones, which imbue different abilities depending on your class. My favourite being an area effect damage zone by dropping your sword into the ground, or a ferocious lightning strike which is triggered by throwing your sword at an enemy. It may not look nuanced in the chaos of a full-on boss battle or the madness of a timed event, but if you stay calm and focused, the combat is fun and hugely rewarding, especially when you defeat a foe that is levels above your current status. Items in your inventory can be enhanced, and you can build your own gear using machines scattered about the in-game world. Another aspect of the game that is not fully explained, but again, I will get back to that. Now, gathering food items and cooking in a game world is something that I never thought I'd be interested in, but there I was on the live stream collecting carrots to make a stew. Who'd have thunk it, eh? Something else that isn't explained particularly well is the cooking station, which can be opened practically anywhere. Open your menu, click on the big boiling pot and open the cooking station. Recipes can be learned via reading books and carrying out cooking quests. Yes, cooking quests. A sentence I never thought would emerge from my mouth. I am just touching on each of these features because if I did a deep dive into all of them, this video would be an hour long. So, moving on. Problems. Zenith is very bad at explaining what your attributes, godstones, armour, cooking station and special abilities actually do, especially to someone like me who has no MMO experience at all. Luckily, as I've mentioned, the extremely social communities helped me out a lot here, so thank you to the guy who very patiently explained that I didn't have to wait for him to vacate the cooking station, I could just conjure up my own. Yes, I am that stupid. On PC VR, the graphics are bright, colourful, very stylised with a good draw distance, but unfortunately the Quest 2 version struggles with that draw distance and you do get a lot of pop-in. The game still looks nice, but jumping from PC VR to Quest 2 was jarring at first. Server issues have blighted the first week or so, but this seems to less of a problem now, apart from some random disconnects due to inactivity, which has been a bit annoying. So what is Zenith NOT? Zenith The Last City reminds me of the release of Grand Theft Auto 5 way back in 2013, and something that Aoife Wilson from Eurogamer said in her Grand Theft Auto review, and it was this: it's not what the game is now, it's what the game will be in a year from now. Let's get this straight right away. The game is very good now, so you can probably see why I'm excited about Zenith. Some other YouTube channels have criticised the game for being a bare bones MMO, light on content, but I think they are not seeing the potential. The game has a roadmap. In a recent Reddit Q&A, Raymond VR's co-founder Andy Sen stated there would be more classes, new zones, dungeons, bosses and systems with possible user-generated content. So the game's already abundant potential will be hopefully optimised and expanded over the next few weeks and months.
That's nice of you.
Before I move on to my conclusion, I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons. I love you all truly madly and deeply. Plus, if you enjoy the madness that is Mac in VR, please smash that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I upload any new content. Thanks. Conclusion. Despite my initial misgivings, I had a terrific amount of fun with this game. Colourful, magical, sometimes brutal, with good depth and scalability. If this is what MMOs are all about, well, I've been missing out, and Zenith The Last City in VR is a great introduction to the genre, and I do hope it succeeds. It's not perfect, not by a long way, but it has been a long time since a game so fundamentally changed my opinion in such a short space of time. Even if the MMO badge is not your thing, I think you should try this game out, and maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised like I was. Now, I'm off to gather some more carrots for my orange rabbit smoothie. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the other side.
I can't believe there's people watching me cooking in VR. It's ridiculous.
I'm surprised that surprises you.
Oh, don't burn the milk. Don't burn the milk. I know. Things you thought you'd never hear yourself say. I'm a 55-year-old man, for fuck's sake.